Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the MarketSite studio of Colleen Valentine. She's the head of InfoSec Governance and Compliance at Nasdaq. Colleen, it's great to have you with us and to, of course, bring awareness to Cybersecurity Month. And, of course, you have a pretty important job making sure we're safe at Nasdaq. What are some of the key trends that you're seeing in cybersecurity?
It really is a constantly evolving space. So I think in 2021, there's obviously been work from home, pandemic challenges, the rise of ransomware, the attack on the Colonial Pipeline obviously created a lot of news headlines. But what we're also really seeing is a shift to focusing on the human element and what we can do as individuals to help really protect us.
In terms of cybersecurity companies, what's new in this space right now?
Yeah, so I think, if we look at people, process, technology, a lot of where the investment was on that hardware, on software, on that technology stack to make sure you had technical defenses. And what we're seeing, and as a governance professional, is really a shift into risk analytics or data-driven type protections, and as well as companies that focus on awareness and training and providing that to organizations.
Now, how about Nasdaq? We kind of sit at the intersection of all things fintech for all the global capital markets. What's our approach to cybersecurity?
I would say there's really two key themes that we constantly try to drive home. One is constant vigilance, right? That can be eyes on the glass 24/7, monitoring our systems, monitoring our networks, but also constant vigilance externally, monitoring the threats, understanding what's going on. And then that second real pillar of our approach is the culture of security, working with our employees to understand what the threats are and the actions that they can be taking to keep that level of protection high.
What are the top three things that people can do to keep themselves safe from cybersecurity attacks?
Yeah, and this is something that you can do both professionally and personally. Number one, multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication. The NCSA, National Cybersecurity Alliance, just published a study recently that said 48% of the respondents didn't know what MFA was. It's a really basic protection that can protect all your online accounts. So whenever a service offers it, you should really take full advantage of it. Another thing is phishing, understanding what phishing is. It can be an email, it could be a phone call, it could even be a text message, smishing they like to call it. So educating yourself on what makes a phishing email and really pausing and understanding is this actually from my bank? Should I be clicking this link or not? And then the third thing would be is talking about it, right? I remember the first time we sent one of our phishing tests out, I could kind of see a ripple in the office of people, saying, this looks strange. So talk to your coworkers, talk to your family as well, so they understand what they should be looking out for.
Speaking of talking about it, when we think of phishing, they're so complex, the emails, they look just as real. If you're not a cyber expert or if you don't work in a fintech company like we do, it can be really hard to identify what they are. Now, of course, with the text messages, I get them from my bank all the time, and then I have to log on to my bank and see if there was actually something sent from the alert center. So when you think of phishing, how do you best identify that?
Right. It's not what it was 5 years ago, right? Where it was the misspelled email that was like, please wire, $10,000. They're sophisticated, right? They know the systems that companies use, especially if they're SaaS services providers. And, we do what we can from a technical protection, but it's really, again, why that human element is so important. At the end of the day, if you click on that link or you follow that link from your text message, that's what creates a vulnerability. So that's why awareness about what these types of attacks are just fundamental, and then really pausing, really questioning what it is, what that content is, does it seem accurate, is it something that you had intended, and then going directly to the source, logging in directly to the bank website and not engaging with that interaction that's been sent to you.
Right, and of course you're at work. Speak up. Don't be afraid to call CIT. It's their job to help us work
Exactly.
through this.
We're here 24/7.
Right.
So.
All right. Colleen, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.